Hello everyone, welcome to another Something Bad Thursday. I'm going to be posting Thursday's video again because I'm not going to be available on Thursday. So yeah, let's get down to the meat and the meat and bones of today's topic. And I thought this topic would be interesting to address since it's a little bit more of a general topic, and it's kind of one that I think is a really big issue, especially within the United States. And this is not just fast food on like a general level. Um, Especially if you've lived within the United States, you sort of see how our culture has really emphasized fast food, and um, it's all about large and big portions and things like that. I think people who come over from Europe, they look at our portions and are like, whoa, like they're just blown away, and it's so much cheaper too. So, it's almost like a positive thing, but at the same time, it's too overwhelming because there's just too much food. But what I wanted to kind of address within this video today is ultra fast food. Now, this isn't just the typical, burger, fries, pizza, you know, uh, uh, milkshakes, things like that. It's it's not just the typical fast food that I'm really talking about here. Um, because even fast foods can come in sort of a regular size. They don't need to be jumbo or extra large or extra, etc. They're just kind of standard. They're standard fast food, like In-N-Out, McDonald's, all that stuff. Usually prefer In-N-Out, and other places. But again, they're just the standard. They don't try to over exaggerate the fast food. They just provide the standard. The thing that I'm really talking about is not only is this stuff like unbelievably 10 times worse for you than just regular fast food, but there's just parts of it that I just find so horrible and ridiculous that it sort of has to be kind of seen to believe. And I think there's a lot of these kinds of foods that I've seen sort of come out lately, that have kind of encouraged this ultra over supersize exaggerated amount of just bad things put together. And it's very unappetizing in my opinion, and it's just one of those things where I just would never eat in my entire life. But basically what I'm talking about is, there's one invention that was made by Dunkin' Donuts, and it was basically donuts, a donut sandwich. So basically you would have two donuts, and then in between was like bacon and just all this really fatty stuff put in, on top of something as sweet and as already filling as a donut. And this is the kind of food that I'm talking about, mostly because it's just so overly pumped, and just it just encourages a heart attack to happen. But not only do they have such ingenious creations as that, they also have, like these that, and I'm not just talking the traditional breakfast burrito. I'm talking, the Taco Bell waffle burrito. Not kidding you, that was a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing, but it was a thing. There was KFC when they made, basically they just took two big fried chickens and basically those were the buns, and underneath was like, or in between was cheese and bacon, just all of the things that you would expect within a burger. And this wasn't just, slivers of chicken. These were like hunks of chicken in between. So it's just an unbelievable amount of calories. It was just crazy when I saw it. I just thought, really, that's they're literally gonna try selling that. Um, they call it the double down, apparently. But not only is there, ridiculous layers of putting things together, that clearly shouldn't be put together. There's also, the burgers and the sandwiches that will have like these ridiculous amounts of layers to them. Like ridiculous. Like it could feed four families, or four families. It could feed four people within a family, it doesn't need one person to eat that whole thing. So it's almost crazy how just stacking on more suddenly makes it better somehow. I don't get it. I don't understand why. Um, and not only do they have like the waffle burritos, which are ridiculous. Again, it is a waffle that has the breakfast stuff within the burrito, and the waffle is basically the the tortilla, and yeah, it's probably one of the most insane I've seen. But they also have things that they top a layer of, you just have, how you just have the standard burrito where it's just one layer. Well, then they add an extra layer, and then it has all of this cheese on it, and they flip it around to make another layer, and it's just so overly excessively unnecessary to have it there, that it is really, I think, all done just for the sake of putting on more food. Um, and I just don't understand why these things are somehow popular. And those things are still going on, like putting more. It's like more is somehow better for the fast food chains. Not all the time, but again, like these ones, we can clearly see that this has been a trend. And yeah, those are kind of the ones that I'm talking about, but the ones that are just so overly done as far as fast food goes. Like they they have to make something just so unbelievably ridiculous so that just so to get people to want to buy it and eat it. But I think this ultra fast food kind of just mentality of putting in more, stuffing in more fat, more calories, more unhealthy, um is just so, I think, just discouraging. I mean, why would you want to be addicted to this kind of food? I mean, why would you want to constantly go get this kind of stuff to eat? I mean, it's just so unbelievably bad for you. I just don't understand. Uh, it's just so unbelievably exaggerated. Um, and I can see this sort of really impacting, the restaurants and everything, because um, the size of the tables, um, to this to the or basically the space between the tables and the chair is so large that, and the thing is too, is sometimes these booths you can't move the chair or even move the table, so you just have to like lean over and eat because it's just so big. Um and it's just one of those things where I feel like we've sort of accepted the fact that that we should, we've accepted this fact that more somehow is going to make people feel more fulfilled. Um, as far as food is concerned, just giving us, you know, junk to eat, and I don't think that that um, having this excessive amount is really all that good. um, uh, and also, I just think it goes to an extensive rate where it's so overboard that you don't want to, um, you wouldn't even consider eating something like it. It's so unappetizing. It's so just, just fat upon calories upon, you know, a artery cloggage and heart disease. It just, you just look at it and go that there must be something that, at least to me, it triggers in my brain that something's not healthy about this food. um Now, I've had my share of food that's, again, not necessarily as healthy, but I think what the problem is there's no balancing act. um it's like we go from one extreme to another extreme. It's like we have two extremes on one side. It's like one side that eats super healthy and the other side that eats super super unhealthy, and we don't balance things out. We don't, try to encourage, this, again, we don't encourage people to kind of just live normally. Almost. um so yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I think when we go to, I think when you see these kinds of overboard proposals sort of happening from these food chains, it just shows that they've probably got a percentage of the population hooked, and that they'll still buy whatever it is that they have on sale for no, and not question it. So yeah, I think that's just something very important to note, and why it really bothers me. And again, I think, salads and vegetables and, all these different kinds of foods, from rice to, that all there's all these food groups are important. I mean, all having a variety is important. Um, and I think that it should all be a balancing act. And you know, you don't need to have fast food every week or every day or whatnot. It's there's always other alternatives to going going to the ultra. You don't need to go ultra all the time. And yeah, I think it's just very, very, it's just very, very crazy just to see the of uh, amount of food that they try to pass off as food. Um, where I feel like, it's just too much. It's just not, it's just not warranted. It's unnecessary. Um, so yeah, I think that's something that I think consumers should definitely consider. Um, and yeah, I think that's really all I can really say when it comes to this topic. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm not against people eating what they want to eat. Um, I'm just saying that somehow I think this overemphasis of fast food and putting out the ultra kinds of meal options out there and just thinking that more is somehow better is I think, I just don't think it's healthy. I just think it's bad. And again, I don't mean to sound like Michelle Obama, because I'm not saying that we should, force companies to change the drink sizes and, things like that. No, I mean, I think in order for the society to change its sort of attitude on this kind of thing, I think it really does come from the home and the parents. And I think, and if the parents can even maybe change their attitude about it, it'll be their children will be better off. But again, I mean, ultimately, it's one of those things where it's a lifestyle. People choose to eat what they eat, and um, I'm just concerned that it's going to um, lead to a lot of unhealthy um, unhealthy people, and um, and again, I don't want to really participate in like stuffing my face constantly with food and feeling like I need to eat constantly. I would rather not. I would rather have me be in control of the food, not the food control me, so to speak. And I think it's sometimes hard to not want to eat certain things, but I think, just as long as you do it within a balancing act and do things through moderation, and do workout routines and things like that, I think usually, you're you can I think definitely manage it, um as far as from what I can tell. And again, this is obviously excluding those who may have difficulty um in certain areas when it comes to health. um but again, as far as from speaking from my perspective as one normal person who doesn't have any of these kinds of medical issues, I mean, I do have asthma, but I don't know if that really counts. But at the same time, it's I think we should focus on trying to um, kind of uh, get into that path of uh, endorsing, healthier options, which I think, again, fast food chains have tried to do. I just think that there's just this other extreme uh, that has sort of occurred. Um, and sometimes people will go for the things that aren't as healthy for them because that's probably cheaper than the salad, or that's even the salads sometimes can't be too healthy depending on how much significant amount of dressing they put on, or what kind of dressing they put on, and all that stuff. So, it's very complicated, but I think the world would be a better place with less ultra fast food, like the ones that I mentioned. And I think, and I think it's just bad that we encourage like this overconsumption um, of this kind of food. I think we should kind of just go back to a reasonable um, understanding when it comes to, you know these kinds of things, and really see the impacts that it has. And I think sometimes people don't see it. But yeah, I think that's really all I can say. Again, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I would be more than happy to answer them. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.